Good morning, Newfoundland and Labrador and all ships at sea. We are on the eve of Election Day in this province. Tomorrow night, one of my guests will be the new Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. With us again is Terra Nova Party leader Richard O'Byrne and leader of the PC Party, James Callahan. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to the party.
Great to be here.
It was a pleasure to be here, Emma. And hello to Kayla, back there in the booth. Huh?
Kiss arse. Hi, Kayla.
Okay, you two do remember this is a debate, right? Opposing sides, contradicting viewpoints. The election is literally a day away.
Yeah.
We know.
We're just, we're tired of all the vitriol by Emma.
The best idea should win. Enough of this partisan nonsense. If James has got something worthwhile to say that can help the province, well, I'll gladly steal it. I mean, listen.
As you can guess, the phone is lit up like a Christmas tree, so let's get right to it. Len from Marystown, welcome to the party.
Now, boys, how you getting on?
Not too bad, Len.
What can we do for you today, Len?
Well, boy, if either one of you got either time machine handy, wouldn't mind going back about 30 or 40 years and keeping an eye on the cod stocks, eh, boy?
Hey, bye.
Yeah.
I'm retired now, but I was a fisherman for 20-odd years. No better work in the world, in my mind. It's in the blood, you know. The plant here in Marystown, buddy, but she go. Blocked with workers. And the fish made you feel like you were part of the world. Like you were doing your bit. Makes me sad to think the whole industry is dying, or already is dead, I suppose, by rights, eh?
Did your father fish, Len?
Did my father fish?
My son, pull down his scarf, you're liable to find a set of gills. Yes, he was out in the longboats and schooners, pulling them rope by hand, right?
It's on he like a friggin' polar bear, sir.
Tell us about him, Len. What do you remember of your father, the sailor?
'Twas 25 or 30 years since Jack first saw the light. He came into this world of woe on dark and stormy night.
Well, Len, if I could dive into my thoughts on the fishery for just a minute, the fishery is far from dead in this province. Nothing dies if it's willing to evolve. When the moratorium on cod was called in 1992, the province spent the next few years diversifying into a shellfish industry, which actually ended up being more profitable than cod ever was. Problem is, the methods and amounts, again, weren't monitored and policed closely enough, so we had to shut it down because those stocks also began to dwindle. The fishery needs to continue to diversify.
And swallowed by a whale. Our Jack was every inch a sailor, 5 and 20 years a whaler.
Right now, there's a crowd on Fogo Island selling cod to restaurants in Toronto. We have many more species in the waters around Newfoundland and Labrador that top restaurants worldwide would want. We need to put pressure on the government to harvest them in safe quantities and sell them globally. Top restaurants will pay top dollar because the product is of such high quality. And why we're not allowed to sell our own game and catch animals in some sort of harborside fish market is beyond me. I mean, I've had breakfast in Frankfurt and lunch in Singapore, and in every world-class city that I have had the pleasure and good fortune to visit, there's been some sort of central market where you could buy the goods of that place. So that's worth taking a look at as well.
I'd like to jump in there if I could. Now, a lot of the despair felt in the fishery this last while, that has to do with the pandemic. Once our supply lines to Europe open up again and the CETA agreement kicks in, I think we'll see a much larger demand for our product and we will get the people back in their boats.
Jack was every inch a sailor.
Would you push to repeal the ban on sealing products set by the EU?
I've always been a proponent for these rights for our fishermen and our indigenous peoples. This kind of far left panic, it doesn't take into account that that hunt is just as humane as any other hunt or fishery in the world, not to mention completely sustainable, and it's a cultural birthright of many of our citizens.
And now we go to Doug and Howley with a message for our candidates about the joys and difficulties of living off the grid.
Uncle Ned's cabin's on the banks of the river, surrounded by the sound of a small waterfall, protected by trees from the wind and the weather, overlooking the beauty of Big Bombay Pond.
You know, Doug, we all want to have a little place where we can get away, and we hope that our little piece of heaven will be protected.
Or he could be stood on a rock in the river, watching the trout jump as they swim along.
Well, if I'm Premier and I can get the Atlantic Loop working for Newfoundland and Labrador, then why couldn't we provide services to all our communities, seasonal and otherwise?
I hate to break up the wishful thinking, but my accountant hat is firmly on, and when I hear talk like that, it just about catches fire.
He'll entertain you with songs he has written about how he grew up and how they got along. He'll sing of the many years he was a sailor, of the places he's been and the things that he's done.
We have 12% unemployment in this province on a good day. Half the income tax collected is from a handful of taxpayers, and there's less and less of those good turnaround jobs in Alberta to keep the outports afloat. While full light and power and fire department services to the cabin might be nice, for me it's got to be at the bottom of the priority list, right next to putting a pool in the Confederation building and erecting a statue commemorating the St. John's bubble.
That's a bit harsh, don't you think?
Sometimes the truth is what people need to hear, even in politics.
Remember the place with a smile. So if you're ever around there with no one to talk to, and if you'd like to drop in for a while, you'll always be welcome at Uncle Ned's cabin, and you'll always remember the place with a smile. You'll always remember the place with a smile.
Richard, what do you think is the biggest obstacle you will face as Premier, should you win?
Well, Emma, there's no easy answer to that question. Newfoundland and Labrador has such a low population density and a big landmass to watch over, which, as we've heard today, makes delivering services very expensive. Equalization doesn't adjust for the fact that our population is 15% older than the rest of Canada, which means higher health costs. Labrador, or the Big Land as they rightfully call it, is 3 times the size of the island with 1/10 of the people. And the last thing I want people to have to do is move. Move from their homes, their towns, their province. You might not know this, but it wasn't easy putting this place behind me. Leaving here as a teenager, a boy, really. Going to Harvard, moving to New York, fighting my way up the ladder at the firm. People don't look at us the same way they look at people from the rest of Canada. It's just a fact. Whether they realize they're doing it or not, they still look down on us, even now. When I landed in New York, I had to be smarter, more charming than everyone else.
Jesus, what happened? Huh? Where'd all that charm go, Richard?
To my wife, Beth, I think. I must have spent it all on her.
Gentlemen, Election Day is almost here. We've hit every topic. We've heard every argument. Any closing remarks?
Yeah,
I got a couple. No, you go ahead.
Feel free to talk about it from your point of view,
Okay,
too.
I will.
Yeah, thank you.
I have no silver, no diamonds or gold. I am far richer by the visions I hold. 'Cause I've seen the mountains and I've seen the sea. I've seen all their beauty and lived a life that is free. When the cool autumn moonlight shines down through the trees, no place under heaven would I rather be, where the wild birds are flying and the caribou roam, places I've rambled, but this is my home. When I am weary and it's time to rest, please take this old body to the place I love best, somewhere on that mountain. Turn my face to the sea and let the wind in the treetop sing me to sleep.
Okay, that's enough out of us. Every party must come to an end. The ballots are in, the results are being tallied. Good luck, Newfoundland and Labrador.